Caught me mid-workout. Okay. Let's review rounding to the nearest tens. So rounding to the nearest tens is just choosing the number that is a multiple of 10 that is closest to the number you're rounding. So 23, if I were to take 23, what are the closest multiples of 10 to 23? Well, that's 20 and 30. So after that, I would look at which one is closer to 23, 20 or 30. And it's 20. So I'll just choose 20. That would be me rounding to the nearest tens. Another example would be 18. The closest multiples of 10 to 18 are 10 and 20. And which one is closest to 18? Well, 20 is closer to 18. So we choose 20. And if you remember the rule, if the distance between the multiples is the exact same, like 15, the closest multiples of 10 to 15 are 10 and 20, but the distance is exactly the same. 10 is 5 numbers away from 15, and 20 is also 5 numbers away from 15. So you would round up. Whenever the exact same distance, you round up. Okay, now let's talk about rounding to the nearest hundreds. Rounding to the nearest hundreds is just like rounding to the nearest tens, except you're doing it with multiples of 100. For example, if I were to ask you to round 70 to the nearest hundreds, I'd be asking you which multiple of 100 is closest to 70. Let's start from the beginning. We have 100 times 0, which is 0, and then you have 100 times 1, which is 100. Those are the two closest multiples to 70, multiples of 100 to 70. So which one is closer, 0 or 100? Well, 100 is closer to 70 because it's only 30 numbers away, but 70 is 70 numbers away from 0. So we would round to 100. We would choose 100 as the number we'd round to. That would be rounding to the nearest hundreds. So if I were to ask you, round 20 to the nearest hundreds, what number would that be? Well, let's find the closest multiples of 100 to 20. So we have 100 times 0, which is 0. And then we have 100 times 1, which is equal to 100. And those are the two closest multiples of 100 to 20. So which one is closer to 20, 0 or 100? Let's think about it. If we start from 0 and we count to 20, that'd be 20. We count 20 numbers. But if we start from 20 and we count to 100, we get 80 numbers. So clearly 20 is closest to 0 and not to 100. So if I were to ask you round 20 to 100 to its nearest hundreds, then you would say 0. Now, what about a number like 150? Round 150 to the nearest hundreds. Well, what are the closest multiples of 100 to 20? Well, you have 100 times 1, which is 100, and you have 100 times 2, which is 200. Those are the closest multiples of 100 to 150. Okay, so which is closer to 150? 100 or 200? Well, if we count, starting from 100 to 150, we'd count 50 numbers. And if we start from 150 to 200, we'd count 50 numbers. So they're the exact same amount of distance or spaces away, numbers, from each other. So which one do we choose? Well, just like with rounding to the nearest tens, we would choose the highest number. We would choose the greater number, the one that has more. So in this case, we would choose 200, as the number we would round to. So 150 rounded to the nearest hundreds is 200. Hope you're getting this. Let's try another one. How about 340? round 340 to the nearest hundreds. Well, first, what are the closest hundreds to 340? Well, we have 100 times 3, which is 300, and then we have 100 times 4, which is 400. So we have 300 and 400. Those are the closest hundreds to 340. Now, which one's closer, 300 or 400? Well, it's 300, because 300 is only 40 numbers away from 340, but 400 is 60 numbers away from 340. So we'd round to 300. That's the number we would choose. Okay. Now you at home, go grab some numbers in the hundreds and round them yourself, okay? Make some big numbers, round them yourself. And remember, if the distance is the exact same between the numbers, then you round to the highest number, the greater number. And that's how you round to 100, to the nearest hundreds. That's how you round it. That's it. Simple as that. Boom. Chicka plow. Chicka choo. Skadoosh. See you in school.